All right, we're going to go ahead and get started here. Happy Friday to everybody. My, oh, my, oh, my. It has been a while since we've done one of these live streams, and that's not because we don't like talking to you guys. It's because there has been a whole lot of work to do, and it's just really, really hard to do everything, even though now we have actually a team of 8 people. You guys remember where we started this thing? Me standing in front of that hab all those many, many years ago, almost 5 years ago now. And man, we have come a long way from doing just crazy stuff, figuring out how everything works, to actually having a team of people now, a company going, payroll running, benefits happening. Man, oh man, everything is just all happening, and praise God that it is. It's pretty amazing to even be able to be doing this type of thing, and we're so blessed to be able to share it with you guys and have you in our lives, and to be able to give you updates. So, what have we been doing? Actually, before I get started, I was just thinking, I'm actually in my office right now, and over here is to my left is where I actually started experimenting with aquaponics and everything. We had a 40-gallon fish tank, put some goldfish in it from PetSmart, and had a tub that I had from Iraq, one of those black plastic tubs that you put all your gear in, and I cut the top off of it, filled it full of what is that? The hydroton, the clay pebbles and all that. Put that in there, and we started pumping water and doing all this. And I just remember how we were experimenting with all that. We got plants to grow, and we had the purple lights going in here, just the big purple, lights happening for the grow lights, and it was just really crazy. And here we are with this update that I'm very happy to give you. If you haven't been following the channel, welcome. The purpose of this channel is to actually help inspire people, help to provide sustainable food and energy to local communities around the world. Food and energy independence to local communities around the world. And it's a mission that we happily share with Eat and Grow Systems, which is the company I work for. And Bart Womack, the CEO, usually joins me on these. He's very, very busy today working on funding for the company, so we really appreciate his efforts. And we're trying to deliver food and energy independence. We don't want to be a company that has to give you the fish. We want to be the company that teaches you how to fish and then sells you the fishing pole, right? So that's what we're trying to do. And yesterday, we delivered our very first product. Whoa! The crowd goes wild! It was a very, very big event for us. It was huge. I mean, going from, like I said, starting in the office, over 10 years, almost 15 years ago, and just sitting here and playing around with aquaponics, and then researching, designing. I don't know how many papers I read, but then we researched, we designed, have one, ordered all the parts, refinanced the house, cashed out some retirement. Thank you, honey. And we built the hab. We were actually selling microgreens out of it. We were raising rainbow trout. We were doing all these things, and we were doing it through the winter. Do you guys remember me, heating the hab with a wood stove that was put in the ground, right? That's hard. That's hard to do. Alicia actually fell down in that hole, and we promptly stopped using that thing. We put the big propane heater in there that threw all that heat, and you can hear the propane just being sucked out of it. We learned a lot from that experience, and honestly, we learned everything that God wanted us to learn so that we could actually do what we're doing. We learned all about what it takes to scale aquaponics and hydroponics, and what type of crops you can grow, what things you can expect, and disease and pest management. We learned about organic certification. We learned about food handling and how you have to separate things and how do you clean things. We learned so much that you would not learn if you were just doing something in a garage, because honestly you would never care about those things. And then of course disaster struck, and the hab was collapsed by snow. We had 48 inches of snow. That's a little over a meter. What is it, like 1.2 meters of snow? Someone will do the calculation. That fell in 2 days. So that's an inch an hour. And I just remember getting that call, honey, you need to come home. The hab has collapsed, right? And coming home and seeing that, and just like, oh, what do we do now? And we doubled down on it. Alicia and I spoke about it. We doubled down on it, and then we decided to, go full speed ahead on designing Hab 2, and eventually left my job and, started doing Eden full time. And now here we are delivering product to customers. This story is very, very interesting. We started off with Hab 1, then we designed Hab 2, had it all done, design complete, going to suppliers and getting everything, sourced, and then realizing, man, we still have a heat problem, which is a major issue in Hab 1, even after all the analysis. So we had to change materials, which changed the structure, which then forced us to get permits. Permits were going to take 6 months. We didn't have 6 months worth of runway in the account. So then we actually shifted to the LifePod, which is the mobile version of the Hab. We put everything in. It's called the Genesis system, but it's just what shape does it take is how that system's deployed. And so we're doing LifePod, and then of course COVID struck, and lockdowns happened and everything like that, and we couldn't source supplies. We couldn't get stuff here in time. Investors dried up because there was a lot of fear at the time. Not that that's changed much, but at the time people didn't know how to handle it. So we pivoted to the Grow Towers and Grow Walls and the app that were actually all part of what went into the Genesis system for the Hab and for LifePod. So we actually took pieces out of those systems, and we said, well, let's go get these to market because we can get them done faster and no permits or anything like that required. So then we started doing we actually started on the Grow Walls first, which was going to be our low-end entry into the market. So the things that compete with things like Arrow Garden, those very low-end things that grow, nothing but leafy greens. And we were up to 13 iterations on that, lucky 13, and then actually all the materials showed up. We were doing the Grow Towers and the Grow Walls simultaneously in design space, and we got the big 3D printer, and we're printing Grow Walls, and we're doing this, and like I said, 13 iterations, and then the equipment for the parts showed up for the version 1 Grow Towers, the Iron Man towers, as I like to reference them. It just sounds cool. So we started building those, and we started growing in those, and my goodness, we grew so many things. We grew green beans, we grew corn, potatoes, beets. I got a beet that was that big out of the system, and our towers, they can grow things that other competitors just can't. We can do the full spectrum of plants, whereas our competitors can't. So they're the higher end prosumer market is kind of what we're looking at. People who really care about independence, food independence, maybe they don't have garden space, they don't have land, but they really care and they understand that you got to grow your own, man. By the way, if you are not growing your own food, you should start growing your own food. And I'm not just saying that to sell you towers. If you have the ability to grow your own food, start growing your own food. You're kind of late to the game, and you need to learn how to do that. You need to get seeds, get a good source for seeds, and get those going. Like I said, don't need to buy a tower. We'd love to sell you one if you're in the city. Go to edengrowsystems.com, and you can sign up to be one of our early adopters and Feed the Future program. But if you don't want to do that, then just start growing your own food, okay? It's like the day is here where everybody needs to do that again. So, we got, we pivoted to these things, and we got the Grow Towers going, and then we kind of stopped on the Grow Boxes, Grow Walls, which were going to be our low-end, lower price, below $1,000, probably above $300 kind of entry for people into this space. We wanted to have less than $100 per unit, which is what we're going for. So it was neato that we kind of got pivoted in all these directions. I feel like God had the reins, and he was just, pulling and kicking and spurring and just guiding us where we needed to be. But not once did the whip have to come out. So I feel pretty good about that. I feel like I got my ears on, hearing what he's telling me. So that was cool. And then here we are with a team of 8 people between Washington State, Houston, Texas, and Brazil. We're a global company. We're stood up. We're a legal entity. We're doing all those things you're supposed to do. We've got press releases coming out. Check out the press release that just happened. We put it up on our social media sites. You can check Eden out on LinkedIn. You can see it on my sites on LinkedIn. You can see it on Facebook. You can see it on Twitter, on Instagram. Doing lots of great stuff there. So, man. Oh, I'm not going to tell you all the stuff that we're going on because I'm going to save some of it for Bart because it's really his bag and I don't want to steal his thunder. So he's got some good news to report to you guys as well. Really, really big news. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. But this week, major thing for us was the delivery of towers to the customers. So here we go. We got our first set of customers here. This is actually, we're going to be doing a whole YouTube video on this. You guys are going to get some full up videos. I've been doing shorts a lot lately because I feel like I've been neglecting you and I wanted to get you more information. But I don't have time. We actually have a backlog of video editing that we need to do. We got people helping us with it, but with all the backlog of work that we have, we're just not able to get to it all. So I hope you can be understanding with the shorts, and I hope you watch them and share them with people because they are short and help us out. So, if you can't afford to buy a tower and you really like what we're doing, you could help us out by just telling people about what we're doing, sharing, liking everything. It'd be great if we can get an army of people who just every time Eden or the Real Martian channels, Eden post really is what we need help with, and the Real Martian, of course, too. But just sharing it, like an army of people that says, okay, Eden posted something, let's go share it. Hey, the Real Martian shared something, let's, new video, let's go share it. That would be super helpful, so make sure you bash that like button. How did that happen? Anyway, so, hey, this group of customers, or this group of kids here, they are the customers. What this is a church. And what they have is they have a series of mentors, and the mentors are guiding this group called Cohort Z. And what they're doing is the mentors are guiding these young boys turning into young men and helping give them life lessons and teach them some responsibilities, what it's like to be part of the community and also to share a gospel. It's pretty amazing. So they're getting taught, electrical engineering. They're getting taught electrician stuff. They're getting taught, how to build things, how to cut lots of wood. I think they're getting really good at that. They shovel people's driveway. They've gone out. They've in order to raise the money to buy the tower, they've gone out into the community and helped the community. Do you know how rewarding that is? To be a product developer whose product is actually engaging the community in ways that you never ever expected. That this thing that you worked on, that you got this team of people now that are amazing and they're helping you do this, but they are all engaging community. That's part of our mission statement, right? Sustainable food and energy independence to local communities. And now these young men here are out there engaging their community. They're helping people. They're raising money for a purpose that I'm going to tell you is pretty awesome. And they're sharing the gospel as they go. So just a really, really cool story. And even if you're not a believer, that's just a cool story. They're out there helping people. They're shoveling driveways. They're cleaning up yards. They're out there and they're helping. And that is just awesome. Now, the reason why they're helping is they wanted to raise the money to be able to buy a tower, maybe two, maybe more. It depends on how things go. But what they want to do is the mentors of this group, they want to help teach science, technology, engineering, and math via the tower, and teach responsibility via the tower, have them grow things, and they want to give us feedback. They want to help us as well. So they're an early adopter customer, and they're going to give us a lot of feedback on usability and how things go. Last night we were there for 3 hours as they walked through the instructions, and it was just interesting seeing how they all work together, or in some cases that didn't work fully together, but it was great, and they got it all built, and we got a lot of amazing feedback to make things better for the system. So and our documentation and how-tos and videos and stuff that we need to do to make it easier. So it was really, really cool. But here's what they're, besides learning STEM and teaching responsibilities, what the young men want to do is they want to take this tower, and again, they might end up getting more, and they want to actually put them into senior citizen homes, retirement homes for our local community here, where there's lots of farmers and folks that can't farm anymore. Lots of gardeners, people that used to be very, very active, and just because of time, it catches up with us all. They can't be as active as they used to, so they want to take this thing that has a piece of what these people used to do with their lives and put it into a home, and a retirement home, and maybe put a few of them there and be able to bring, fresh vegetables to them, as well as give them something that they can do that's pretty easy, pretty hands off. You don't have to be bent over or lifting heavy things, for those that are not mobile anymore on their own and they need to have a wheelchair or crutches or something, they can come up to this and actually engage it. As if you're gardening, you have to get down on the ground. So this is actually right at a level where they could really engage with it. That is just an amazing idea. It's one I never even thought of that would be a use case here. So it's really neat seeing them come up with this idea, and it's really cool coming to work every day knowing that this is the type of stuff, and this is the first customer. And we have another group of people that's communicating with us along the similar vein where they want to take this tower and have it as a centerpiece for helping educate, train, engage community, deliver food. Of course, it does deliver food. It delivers it very well. The version 1 towers out in the garage right now are just doing amazing with all the upgrades that we've done. So it's really, really, really cool seeing all of this happen. And honestly, it's kind of difficult for me to fully embrace it, the coolness of it, because it's like there's so much more to do. And yeah, we delivered this, but there's that next thing, right? It's that negative Nancy that's there going, okay, well, you did that, but you still have to do this. And it's like, and I'm doing that to myself. Yeah, we delivered this tower, but there's all these things that need to be fixed, and there's all this, and there's the next one, and we got to break even, and we got to do all these things, and that's all true. And those things are very important. But the simple fact is, we delivered to a customer. 5 years ago, we were in a hab. And here we are now delivering essentially a majority of what the hab is. So if you want to look at it here, let's see, get my mouse on here. So light deck, or this whole structure, right? Look at the structure. Remember the structure in the hab where we had those big pallet rackings and we had all the decks? Well, here, and then we had the fish tanks down below, right? We did that so that we could use gravity to drain everything and we wouldn't have to do pumps or anything like that. So there was a lot of stuff that that we did in those trenches that had the pumps and everything in it, and look at that, that's where all the pumps are at. And then the structure, here's the actual reservoir where the fish go, right? And then you have your decking that goes up from that, and there was space between the reservoir and the grow deck. That's exactly what was in the hab. We have a computer control that used to be mounted up here. It was a big panel box. In fact, I need to do a video where we go over this because I don't have all the pictures set up, but it's really cool if you look at it, where here's the hab and here's what we have. So we have a touchscreen control. All the computer elements are actually down here, but the touchscreen is right here, and we didn't even have that on the hab, but we had the computer control. Those fans that were on the towers, they were all, up high. We had those box fans and all that. Well, here's a custom fan that we built, and we actually have an improvement over that that is really increasing pollination quite a bit. And then you have your lights, right? I mean, it's the exact same thing as the hab. If you look at the grow lanes by themselves, really the only thing missing that would make this really fully implementing the Genesis system, aka the hab, is we need the digester, right? Which we're actually going to be working on, a digester that goes into a tower so you can recycle all your plants and your table waste and make your own nutrient solution, because that's a really big deal of what's going on in the world right now. We're all going to be running out of fertilizer because there's just not enough of it, and even if there is enough of it, China's not exporting anymore, so it's kind of a really big deal. So it's another thing. You got to make your own, brew your own, grow your own. Do it yourself, become independent again, not dependent. Very important lesson there. So what else is on the hab? So the digester we need that recycles nutrients, gives us nutrient solution for the plants. You also need to have power, right? This system is actually battery backed up now as well. So we're working on all the logic and everything, but we've added a battery backup system to the design. So if the power does go out, this tower actually runs for a while. It goes into emergency mode, and it essentially turns off stuff it doesn't need, and it just burps some water every now and then into the grow chamber to keep those plants alive until the power can come back on. We've also included emergency foot pump now, so if you do run out of total power, you can actually go up to this thing and literally walk up to it and just use a foot pump, and every now and then just give a little bit of pressure, a little bit of squeeze in there, some nutrient solution to keep those roots wet, and limp them along. It's an emergency, so we've done all that, and our competitors don't have any of that. So. This thing grows root vegetables. Pretty cool. If we add a digester and a solar panel, I guess there's also the heating and cooling, right? We don't have the heating and cooling elements. We do have a heater that can go into the reservoir. Nobody else has one of those. So we can actually heat this thing up for colder operations. And what that means is you can actually grow, crops that need warmer air temperature. You can grow them at colder air temperature as long as you keep the root zone warm. So that's really, really cool. So essentially these towers, if we were to enclose it and add a heater, cooling system, solar, and a digester, so 3 things remaining, and we're thinking of doing all of these things, this is essentially a small hab. So if you put all of these together, you can have your own. Now, 4 towers grow enough food calorically for 1 human being every day. So if you have 4 towers, that's about the size of a queen-size bed, you would be growing enough food calorically, that's 2,000 calories a day, for 1 human being every day. You go out there, harvest what you need, bring it in. We also now have our triple deck, right? That doesn't have this reservoir, and we actually have 3 grow decks. So it's super efficient, and we're working on putting a bladder in it, so you don't even need to have buddy breathing. Like what we've done, and you can actually just bring it into your home, and we're going to be showing you that because that tower is built. We're just working on the bladder, and maybe even today that might be going into the house here for testing, and very excited for that. So this stuff that we did here with the kids, just really, really cool. So I can show you another picture here. That's the last picture. So here we go. This earlier shot of them getting all put together. You can see we've gone to an aluminum structure now, so it's very rigid. We went with a bracing system that we're actually going to be changing out to make it even better. We've got the flexible tanks, which are ginormous improvement for us because shipping is just so much less expensive now. The base has been improved. The light deck is essentially the same. And the next version 2.3.1, we call this version 2.3, but 2.3.1 is going to be even better. It's like we're really dialing this thing in, and we got version 2.4 already planned. So it's coming together very, very nicely. And then here's the money shot here. Just last night with everybody there. I think it's almost everybody. They might have a few people missing, but it's really cool seeing this thing come together. It's really quite a blessing. Thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus, for letting me be a part of this, for putting this in front of us and letting us do this. So it's been really, really cool. I'd love to answer any questions that anybody has. So I see we got some people online. Thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to hit the like button, share, subscribe, do all those great things. But if you do have questions, go ahead and put it in. I see 12 packs here. Hey, man, thanks for always being here. I really appreciate it. I see you every time. Latin America is wide open market for indoor farming. Well, I hope we've got a guy down there, and he's working on it, also doing some software for us. So I think we got good opportunities down there. Lots of neat stuff going on. We got some global opportunities that we're working on, and it's just neat seeing everything come together. So go ahead and ask me any questions you got. If not, I think that's pretty much the big update that I had. But I would love to ask any question or answer any questions that you guys might have, and then we can go from there. I don't have any articles this week to go over. It's kind of depressing watching the news nowadays. There's just so much lying going on. It's really, honestly, extremely depressing. But there is a hope for everybody that knows the Lord Jesus. There's hope, right? Look up. Your redemption draws near. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, shoot me an email at TheRealMartian.com. But study your Bibles, read your Word, because He is coming. He is coming. So. All right, I don't really see any questions. Kind of short and sweet. You know what I got to do? I got to get out there and get building some more towers. We got 2 more towers to build today, and we're going to be doing aquaponic shrimp. So those that are here right now that made it this far, first, thank you. You rock. But we are going back to aquaponic shrimp. Probably within 2 weeks, we'll have shrimp going, I think, maybe 3 weeks, but maybe sooner, somewhere between 1 and 3 weeks from now, we will actually have aquaponic shrimp growing here in a tower, and we'll be seeing how they do. And this time I plan on not killing them. So, oh my goodness, I've killed a lot of freshwater prawns, not by eating them. That's the plan, though, is to get there. So we are going to be getting back to those shrimp, and we're going to be getting back to aquaponics in our towers. Our tower is the only one that does both aquaponics and hydroponics. Nobody else out there does both. We have the ability to do that in the same footprint. Our reservoir is bimodal, meaning it can do hydroponics by itself, or it can do aquaponics, and there are no competitors that offer that feature. So we're excited to get into that again, get going, and making it all happen, and that is what it's all about, making it happen. So everybody, thank you so much. I wish you a very, very, very happy Friday. It certainly is for us here. We feel blessed. We're thankful for all of you for following us, but we thank you for everyone's support. If you do want to support us, you can go over eatinggrowsystems.com and sign up for the early adopter program. If that's not your bag, no problem, totally get it. Grow your own food regardless. But you could really help us out, be the army of Eden, and go out there and actually really help share the word. Just share. Just tell people about us. Tell people what we're doing. And it's cool. Look at what we're doing here. We're in the community right now with our first product. Right off the bat, we're in the community making a difference. I firmly believe that these towers are going to change the world we live in. I think they're going to be very, very good. I think they're going to help people. I think there's a reason God has us doing it. And look at that. We already have, actually, look at that. I got to do it that way. Look at that picture right there. We are already in the community making a difference, and it's just the first one. And we've got 5 months worth of backlog already. So sign up, get your tower now. Get your tower now. Okay. John, hey, thanks for asking me a question. This stuff is very impressive. Would it be possible to get something like this in the UK? The answer is yes. But sandwich. In order to get it to the UK, it's just shipping. It's going to be expensive, and we got to go through export control, and we haven't done that yet. So if you're willing to be a guinea pig, and you've got the money to be able to buy the tower and help pay for shipping, we definitely would work with you, to potentially try that out. But we're going to take some more U.S. customers first. What I'd hate to have happen is get you a tower and then something goes wrong and I can't get there to really help you, or the troubleshooting becomes very difficult. So what I want to do is please sign up for the early adopter program if you're interested in it. Put a note in there that you saw it on TheRealMartian and that I said this, so that I can connect everything, because I see all those come through. But for anyone who is outside the United States, if you'd like to be an early adopter, if you're interested, you go on, see the prices and everything that we have. Early adopters get these things at the cost that's listed, which is what's on there right now. And we can work out how to help out with shipping and handling all that. We got to figure that all out. I've never priced it. But going through, the export controls is something, and import on your side is something that we need to test out and we need to figure out. So we do need someone who's willing to do that. But like I said, I want to get a few more customers under my belt, and then, we can take that to the next step. Because like I said, the last thing I want is for you to, spend money and then the system gets there and there's just something that is like impossible for us to troubleshoot. And last night's deployment went really, really well. We actually only had 2 little hiccups. Well, technically 3. One, there was a small little part that was left on the counter. We missed it in the checklist. Second, there was a loose wire. So we're going to go back and look at our manufacturing process to make sure that those wires don't get loose. It's easy to fix. And then the third thing was in the programming of the tower, when we give it its serial number and its name, I forgot to do one thing. So when we turned it all on, it turned on once we got the loose wire taken care of, and it came up, but we weren't able to control everything like we should have. It all opened the right way, but we had one little word that I forgot to update in its identity matrix, and once I figured that out, updated it, boom, everything worked great. So I really feel like we're just this close away from having this thing dialed in. But I'd like a few more customers before we ship one across the pond. But I would love for you to be the first one across the pond. I know our guy down in Brazil would love that as well. So it's just a matter of time, money, and the resources to do it. So I really do appreciate the question. And the answer is we will be selling these global. In fact, we'd like to work with organizations and get these down in places where they're having a hard time with water, with food. You know, nice thing about these towers is they use hardly any water. You know, without a lid, we were losing a 1/4 inch of water through evaporation per day. So these things lasted quite a while, but with a lid and even with our new bladder system, our evaporation is going to be really close to zero, and it'll just be a matter of the plants taking up the nutrients that consume the water. So we're excited to get these out there, and we have organizations that think that they could help some of the folks in areas where they're, how's the right way to say it, is they're not being treated very well. So we'd like to help them with that. So, okay, thanks again, John, for your question. 12-pack, thanks for always being here, man. Really appreciate it. To the team at Eden, I told you this morning on our all-hands call, I really appreciate your efforts. This is a really big deal for us to make it to this point where we're, it's hard to do that, where we're seeing that, right? We're seeing smiles. We're seeing people in community. We're making a difference already, and we're just getting started. So I think God has great things in store for all of us, and I think all we got to do is just keep doing what we're doing and celebrate these victories, and it really is. So again, everybody, if you'd like to help out, we need that Eden Army. Oh, hey, we got another question now. Cool. People are coming on with questions. Hey, guys, give me all your questions. I'll stay on as long as you guys have questions. Casey, is that like Casey Kasem? Was that every Saturday Casey Kasem would come on? I forget. How many hours to create a unit? Well, actually, right now, so there's the right now, and then there's the actually planned, right? Actually planned, and based on the metrics that we've collected, Casey, if you've been watching, you know, some of the videos I have, we're using an ERP system, and what that means, for those that don't understand ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning, it means that we actually don't just go buy stuff and like throw it together. We actually have a process, an assembly line that we go through, and we generate work orders, and each of those work orders is tracked by a computer. So part of what we do is we have to go to the computer, we have to say that we're building this part, we check in, and then when we're done, we check out. And so far, our estimates are coming in very, very close to what we had. So you're looking at like less than 4 hours right now when everything goes well. Everything hasn't gone well because we've been learning, which is very, very normal. That's not a negative thing. The reason why we have an ERP and why we're going through this process is to test it all out. And we found that we have, you know, parts missing, the BOM wasn't complete, we had the wrong supplier in the system, so we bought the wrong part, or how we wanted to manufacture it just wasn't working, it's not high enough quality, so then we start to change things. So that's why it's taking longer right now. But in the future, we're looking at, you know, kind of less than 2 hours, closer to 60 minutes to manufacture one of these. And the next version is going to be really, really fast. It's going to get us really close to that because, and by 2 hours, I'm talking about that's how long it takes us to manufacture it, not to assemble it. Assembly in the next one is going to be very, very fast. You'll be able to get it done in less than 30 minutes, probably closer to 15 minutes to assemble it. Because we're making major usability changes. So it's simpler, but yeah, the manufacturing costs on this are going to drop tremendously. We actually just hired our vice president of manufacturing and production, and he's now in Houston looking for our facility. We got it necked down to about 3 or 4. And next week we're going to be looking at them and actually be moving into a manufacturing facility here within the next 2 months if knock all goes well and the funding and everything continues to come in. So if you know investors, tell them to go to edengrowsystems.com or shoot me an email at jeff@edengrowsystems.com or trm@TheRealMartian.com. But get a hold of us regardless because you know we're still in investment phase. We still need investment dollars. So yeah, it's actually really better. In some cases, it's going faster than what we had forecasted for manufacturing. Some cases longer, which is totally normal. But we're going to be less than 2 hours when it's all said and done. Lots of machine work, lots of plasma cutting in our future, the CNC work and all those types of things. We're actually trying to get rid of a lot of the high-end stuff. So, Casey has another one. So thanks for the answer. You're welcome. Thank you for asking. Will you put these into your outdoor grow area hab too? Will this displace the fish trench aqua method? Yeah, so in HAB 2, these are the towers. Yeah, we're definitely going with this. Then HAB 2, they were triangular instead of rectangular because we had an octagonal shape. And that was the way to optimize space. But the tower system itself, actually, if we do the VR walkthrough, which I did for HAB 2, which is way cool. It's my VR glasses back there, right? I actually used that to design everything so I could get all the relative spacing and all that. But they were triangular in shape, but they are the exact same concept. And now we just have it refined. And we could even do more stuff in HAB 2 because of its centralization and pump systems and all that. But yeah, the trench system is out. We're actually going above ground for HAB 2 and for LifePod 2. We don't want to have to do like large excavation. That was a key requirement that we wanted. We didn't want people to have to call in bulldozers and trenchers and excavators and have them pay for all that. Permitting, environmental studies, all those types of things would go into it. So what we really want for HAB 2 is to have a prefabbed facility that you can, roll in on a truck, remove, kind of like a manufactured home, and then plop it wherever you have. You do need a mostly level pad and all that. You need electrical, water if you want to connect it to your system, but that's the plan for HAB 2. LifePod 2 is a trailer, so you don't need any permits for that. You just need a somewhat level ground, and you could even use cribbing and stuff to level it out just like you would an RV or whatever. So yeah, those guys there won't be using trench systems. We don't want to have to change the land in that way. I will say this, one of the cool things about HAB 2, LifePod 2, as well as just Genesis system in general, is because of the digester technology that's in it, you can actually do the Genesis effect, right? You could actually have a piece of land that's really not good at all, as in, not vibrant, not filled with life, very bad soil. And what you can do is you can bring your HAB in, you can bring your LifePod in, and you can take a portion of the nutrients that you're creating through the digester. You can actually bring waste in. You can bring organic waste into the system. It's actually waste negative, meaning it can consume more than it produces. And it will convert that organic waste into three things: methane for power and heating, sludge, which can be used to fertilize, and digestate, which is the nutrient solution which you pump back through the system so you don't have to buy all those nutrients. And the sludge, it's like a septic tank, so it takes like 10, 15 years, 20 years, depending on how you're using it, for that to really build up where you need to get rid of it. But if you want to use it soon, all you do is open up a valve and that sludge will come out in its somewhat liquid, pasty form. It'd be like really thin toothpaste. Maybe like pancake batter is another way to think about it. It'll come out thin pancake batter, and hotcakes, silver dollars, I don't know, all the different ways across the planet that people call them hotcakes, flapjacks, pancakes, biscuits, I think is another one. But anyway, you get it, runny dough. That'll come out, and you actually spread that on that bad land, and then you can mix it in, till it in or not, and just let it sit on top and let it settle down and get water on it. But what will start to happen is from wherever you put a LifePod or wherever you put a HAB, you will actually start to expand your growing area in the natural environment, and you will recreate the Garden of Eden. You will recreate a fertile land just by using that digestate and that sludge. You can actually start to recapture and regenerate really, really bad land. So how enjoyable is that you can actually have the Genesis effect right out the gate. You can plop the HAB and the LifePod. You can even do it with a tower, believe it or not. The tower, once we get the digester in it, it's the exact same thing. It's the digester that's the key. But here we actually grow food, so you don't have to wait. You're not just throwing a digester out there, and waiting for this. The digester is part of a system which is generating value for you right now, and then you're able to use the nutrients to regenerate the land around you, and that's pretty darn cool. And you could, once we get the digester in the tower, you could do that as well. So just not as much, obviously, it's a smaller digester. But that sludge that comes in as the stuff's broken down can be used. So it's very, very cool, and we're excited to get that going. And like I said, if you haven't been watching the news with the stuff coming out of China, very bad news there. But in particular, today I saw that they're shutting down magnesium exports, which is mostly metal, of course, for fabrication, but magnesium is also used in plant growing solutions and fertilizers. But more importantly, they're shutting down their phosphate exports. Why? Because they need them internally, and they're running short on things. And I'm sure there's a plethora of reasons why this is happening, but to just avoid all those topics and just simply say the effect is the same, they're shutting it down. Phosphate is a key ingredient in primary fertilizers for hydroponics, aquaponics, gardening, farmers. It don't matter. Everybody is using these phosphates, and one, there's a global shortage, but some people argue that's not the case, so we'll just skip that and say the big problem is China supplies 30% of the world's phosphates, and they decided to stop supplying them. So that's a really big problem. That's a really big deal. And so having a digester where you're recycling nutrients, where you can go out in your own environment, get some grass, get trash, leaves, throw them into the digester, and actually start recirculating nutrients, regenerating nutrients is going to be very, very, very important for everybody. So getting that digester going for us is a really big deal. So thank you so much for the questions, Casey. Really appreciate it. And I don't see any more in the chat, so I do appreciate everybody being here. If you're just catching the end of this, thank you so much. We just had our big day yesterday, last night, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard, October 14th, a date that will live in super awesomeness. Maybe not infamy, but certainly super awesomeness. And we're seeing the kids here, the customers, the young men who have purchased this tower, who worked in their community to raise funds, who are helping everybody in need in their community, and just being out there, being good people, raising money, getting this tower, now going to be using it for STEM education, and as well as going out, once they get that all figured out, they're going to go out into the world and take this tower with them to go help elderly people who used to be able to garden and now can no longer do so. So it's a great day here at The Real Martian, a great day at Eating Grow Systems. Check them both out. Be sure to like, subscribe, bash that thumbs up button, help us out. We got lots of shorts that we're doing right now, so I hope you enjoy those. But everybody, it's time for me to go. Thank you so much for being here. This is The Real Martian.